Now everything makes sense. Will Daredevil be saved by Spider-Man in Brand New Day? The finale of Daredevil's second season has been an absolute masterpiece, and at the same time it sets the stage for an eventual third season. However, Matt Murdock's fate is quite uncertain. We see him entering prison at the end, and that particular scene has set off all the alarms, as many are already suggesting it could be a deliberate hint about how it would be connected to the Spider-Man Brand New Day movie. We analyze it below. In the season finale, we see that Matt finally revealed to the world that he is Daredevil. He did it to free Karen and bring down Fisk, however he had to pay a high price, his own freedom. Matt was arrested and is now in prison, accused of many crimes as Daredevil. This is where a key detail comes in, because right in the trailer for the Spider-Man Brand New Day movie, we see Peter Parker facing the Hand inside an extremely similar prison to the one where Matt Murdock is now, which has started to spark many theories among fans about a possible direct connection between both projects. Additionally, it wouldn't be strange for the Hand to take advantage of Matt's imprisonment to try to manipulate the situation from the shadows, especially considering the enormous history this organization has with Daredevil in the comics. This would also open the door for Peter Parker to end up indirectly getting involved in Matt's release. They are currently filming the third season of Daredevil, and curiously, according to several reports, Matt would no longer be in prison, which raises an unsettling question: who and how was he freed? This is where the theory comes in that Peter Parker could have freed him from prison. It would make sense for the Hand to go after Matt now that they officially know he is Daredevil, and they practically have him served on a silver platter while he's locked up and vulnerable inside a prison where he can't hide his identity or escape easily. This would fit perfectly with the Brand New Day footage, where Peter Parker appears fighting members of the Hand inside a prison complex extremely similar to the one shown in the season finale. It's time for Peter Parker to save Matt Murdock and return the favor. Plus, Peter Parker would likely identify with Matt for revealing his identity to the world. After all, Peter already went through a very similar situation when the whole planet discovered he was Spider-Man and his life was completely destroyed. Peter lost his privacy, was publicly hunted, put the people he loved in danger, and ended up understanding how devastating it can be for a hero when the world discovers who's behind the mask. Now Matt is going through something similar. Moreover, in the Brand New Day trailer, we saw Spider-Man fighting the Hand, villains historically linked to Daredevil. In the scene, we also observed that next to Peter Parker there is an ally of his. Since some of the Hand's ninjas keep their gaze fixed on an apparently empty spot, as if Marvel were once again trying to hide a secret character through visual effects or carefully cropped framing in the trailer. This has led many fans to start suspecting that this hidden character could be none other than Matt Murdock. It would also make a lot of sense for Marvel to want to save Daredevil's return as a big surprise for the movie, in the same way they have previously hidden important appearances in other trailers. The way Peter fights in that sequence also looks different from his usual combats, as he seems to coordinate movements with someone else in the hallway, as if he were fighting alongside another hero accustomed to hand-to-hand combat against ninjas and trained assassins. That would fit perfectly with Matt, who has years of experience facing the Hand both in the comics and in the Netflix series. However, another somewhat pessimistic possibility is that we may not see Matt Murdock directly in Brand New Day. But perhaps he does escape due to the destruction of the prison where he is held as a consequence of the shocking clashes between Spider-Man and the Hand. There is a possibility that Marvel is using Peter Parker's battle against the Hand simply as the indirect trigger that allows Matt's release without fully involving him in the movie's main plot. After all, if the fight inside the prison escalates into total chaos with explosions, riots, and massive clashes between ninjas and security forces, it wouldn't be hard to imagine several inmates escaping amid the destruction, including Matt Murdock. On the other hand, here I share a brief summary of episode 8 and the season finale. The intense face-to-face between Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock becomes one of the most powerful moments of the episode, although here Fisk never loses his composure and maintains an unsettling sense of control throughout almost the entire interrogation. In the midst of the absolute tension of the trial, Fisk immediately understands Matt's intentions and calls him an idiot just before everything changes forever, but Matt, completely determined, responds firmly before dropping the bomb that shakes the entire city and destroys the last barrier between his public life and his secret identity. He himself admits in front of everyone that he is Daredevil. From that instant, the situation changes completely, as the revelation that Matt is really Daredevil opens the door to the appearance of a witness capable of proving that Wilson Fisk was behind the destruction of the Northern Cross. All this leads to the explosive climax of the episode, where Wilson Fisk decides to barricade himself inside the courthouse along with the followers who still remain loyal to him, although also surrounded by several allies whose loyalty begins to waver as the situation spirals out of control. In parallel, Matt Murdock also fights his own battle inside the building, making his way through enemies while traversing another hallway accompanied by Angela Del Toro, who finally reveals the full extent of the abilities inherited from White Tiger, moving along the walls and shifting with supernatural agility that turns the sequence into an explosive combination of brutal action and acrobatic combat. The contrast between Fisk's monstrous violence and the style of Daredevil and Angela ends up turning these final minutes into a genuine war inside the courthouse, where every hallway transforms into a completely uncontrolled battlefield. All the episode's tension explodes in the courthouse lobby, where the protesters finally manage to subdue Wilson Fisk and seem about to finish him off. But in an unexpected twist, it is Daredevil himself who intervenes to save his life. After escaping together to the building's balcony, Matt Murdock confronts Fisk and makes it clear that both must put an end once and for all to the endless cycle of violence and destruction they have fueled for years. Although some time ago Matt had proposed that he leave the city as the only way to stop their personal war, this time his words have a different meaning, more related to breaking the hatred that consumes them both, and surprisingly, Fisk ends up accepting the agreement. Later, the situation seems to have calmed down in New York, the city slowly begins to return to normal, Fogwells announces its reopening, and the series gives a rare moment of tranquility by once again showing Karen Page and Matt sharing a dinner, as if they were finally close to achieving the peace they had sought for so long. For a few moments, everything seems to point toward a happy ending for both characters, but the calm lasts very little. Suddenly, police sirens break the moment and the authorities arrive to arrest Matt, reminding that beyond his heroic intentions, much of what he did as Daredevil was illegal. Finally, before being separated from Karen and taken into custody, Matt barely manages to say a quick and emotional, "I love you," closing the episode with a bittersweet outcome that leaves his future completely uncertain. After the chaos of the final confrontation, the episode enters its traditional closing sequence. But perhaps the most shocking twist comes with Heather Glenn, who ends up embracing a completely unexpected transformation by putting on the mask of her own attacker while observing her reflection in the mirror, thus revealing that she will now become Lady Muse, a development that just a few weeks ago would have seemed impossible for viewers to imagine. Meanwhile, Matt Murdock faces a much darker fate as he ends up imprisoned alongside members of the AVTF, a situation that makes it clear that the coming days for him in prison will be far from peaceful. In parallel, Wilson Fisk ends up completely isolated on a beach during his exile, far from the power and the city he tried to control, finally finding a strange sensation of calm and emptiness that recalls the kind of peace Vanessa Fisk always desired before her tragic death. And when it seemed the episode had already shown all its cards, the season still holds one last huge surprise for the final minutes. The final scene takes us to a practically empty office where the big revelation arrives. It is Luke Cage who finally returns after having been working abroad for the mysterious Mr. Charles. Jessica, clearly surprised and relieved to see him again, asks him if he is okay, and Luke